Everything Beasts, man, on another reel review slash comparison. Two of the top ones that I was looking into when I was really trying to get my, my 25 series spinning reel for this year was the Daiwa Ballistic MQ. It's their new mag sealed series. And then, of course, I think just replaced the CI4, which is the Shimano Vanford. And I wanted to, when I was looking at the two, I ended up buying the MQ, as you've seen, the Ballistic, earlier on this year. And then shortly thereafter, I bought the Vanford. And I ran the Daiwa for the first half of the year. Same rod, both of them on a medium fast action St. Croix Tournament Legend rod. And I ran this on the first half. And then when we got to the second half, like midsummer, I switched over and started running the Vanford. And because you've seen a lot of hype going behind the Vanford. And I've gave my review on the Ballistic, so we know where that's at. And so talking about the Vanford, my first impressions when I got it was the weight. It is really light. I believe both of these are 8-ball bearings. I think if you're given to it, the Shimano, I believe, has more drag. If I'm looking at this right, yeah, this has a 20-pound drag, and I believe the Daiwa has well, no, I take that back. The Daiwa has a 22-pound drag. The Shimano has a 20-pound drag. But when I was really doing it, you noticed they're both really light reels, but the Shimano felt just a little bit lighter. But it also felt, the construction is what got me. It felt, when you look at the bells, the bell on that one is really thick and sturdy. This one's just really thin. And when I was getting the body, I believe both of them have plastic polymer bodies. Both of them have aluminum machine spools. Both of them have really tight, this is what you call the Digi gear. I think this just has the Shimano, whatever the Shimano technology gear system. I don't know if that even says it on the box. The tighter Shimano gears. Polymer body, they save weight. Both of them, like I said, both have 8-ball bearings. Both these, I think, are 6. This is a 6-to-1. This is a 6-2-to-1. So the die was just a little bit faster. And I was really worried about the construction when I was just feeling things on it, like the body and the reel handle and the spool. And then if you take this off, you take off the spool, there was this, let's see if I can get this off here. You see what I'm saying? When I first put it together, it's just like plastic kind of a gear. I don't know what it is. Somebody out there can probably tell me what it is. I was trying to look there. See that? That right there had that little plastic gear in there, and I'm like, what is that? I was like, plastic gear? I was like, surely it's not the drag. And I was like, man, this thing is just going to get ripped apart, because I run the 25 series, which is a smaller series on pretty much my lightweight lures for my spinning rod. And I was like, man, this thing's going to get ripped to pieces. And so I was like, hey, you know what? That's what I got it for. Let's put it to the test. And honestly, like at first, because supposedly if you look at the spools are bigger on the Shimano, and they said that bigger spool is supposed to give you better casting distance. And right off the bat, that didn't seem to be true. It seemed like the Daiwa got the same, if not a little bit better as far as the casting distance. But again, you can get more line on the Shimano. So that was an advantage I gave to it. And maybe there were times it maybe did get a little bit farther in casting distance, but it wasn't anything crazy. It wasn't anything to be like, oh yeah, I got to go out and get that one. And then I started catching fish, and I started catching this fall. We got into the fall. I started, I caught some, decent bass. But then we got into the fall, and I started getting into the wiper. And anybody knows anything about wiper, if you're going to test the drag and you're going to test the reel, wiper will tear the reel apart. I mean, they just run and run and run. Super powerful. And if you look at some of my videos I had earlier, I probably caught maybe 20 wiper, this fall. And I actually got into, I'm making a video of it, pretty much my fish of a lifetime, what I caught over an 8-pound walleye or sogeye. And right there on this little 25 series, reel, and it held up, and I was surprised because I just kept waiting for it to fail and the drag to fail. Kept waiting for it to get busted up because, like I said, it just didn't feel, for as light and as flimsy, it just felt like you could just snatch it apart, and it held up. It did its thing. And so I've been pretty impressed. People talk about the smoothness on these between the two. The Shimano is really smooth. Anytime you're hiring reels, like I'm getting to my Flugers or any of that, I ran 10-pound fluoro on both of these, Seaguar fluoro. And it is, yeah, the smoothness has been really good. And you can see they even got little, cuts in the spool to kind of help, if I can get that to focus in. Little cuts through the spool kind of save, all kind of little weight saving things. It does make it really, really light. But again, my fear was, yeah, that light and all that plastic, those things is to get torn apart when you really, put a test. I put my reels to the test. I mean, I'm throwing them in and out. The kayak, I take my 25 series, I'm throwing it for, big bass, walleyes, wipers, smallmouth, you know what I'm saying? I'm taking this down, this one's getting dunked in the river, going down the river, catching big river smallmouth, big lake smallmouth, walleye, caught like a 6-something pound walleye on this earlier. You see one of my videos at the beginning of spring. And I was like, yeah, this thing is just going to get tore apart. And it didn't. So far, it has held up really, really well. As far as smoothness, I don't know, man. It's kind of a toss-up. I would probably say it's about even. Sorry, I still got line on there. That's what you see kicking around. I'd say the Shimano's probably a little smoother. I will give it that. You know what I mean? Again, and I'm not a fanboy in anything. I buy any brand, anything. If it's going to be the best, it's going to be the best. I don't care what it is. I don't lock into any brand. Whether it's lures or reels or rods. I like what I like because I do my research and I try to go for the best bang for the buck. You know what I mean? If I'm going to spend my money, which a lot of you are, I might not have the option to go buy 30 different reels. I'm going to have to get that one or maybe that two, and that's got to last me for a very long time. So I don't like wasting my money. So I really put my stuff in. So when I share this, I'm sharing with you what I found in my experiences. Now, very good reel. I will say it surprised me for its strength. I caught 4 or 5 pound wipers, like I said, over an 8-pound walleye, a couple of 3-4 pound bass. I'm throwing really, really light lures. I will say I think this held up better. Sometimes with my Daiwas, I get wind knots when you're using spinning reels, especially with different types. I didn't get that as much with this. I had to give that to it. I was really impressed. Didn't really have to get out any wind knots like I do with my Daiwas from time to time. Really good reel so far. Now, if I had to pick one, I was like, I had to go in there. This is running. The only thing is, this runs about $250. This runs about $220. So you got about $30 difference. If I'm holding them both, the Daiwa Ballistic MQ just feels more solid. It feels like you could just drop this, bang it around, put it through hell, and it feels like a tank compared to the Vanford. This one feels like I'm afraid to drop it in the rocks because, sorry, my line's coming up there. I'm afraid to drop it in the rocks. I'm afraid it's going to break, man. This one, you're like, it'll be okay. I mean, it's solid, man. Really impressed me. Everything, even down to the reel arm there, really good. Where everything on here is just really light. But if I had to get one, he was like, is it worth that extra, $30 or more for this one? But it's still, when you get to this point, is that $30 really? But sometimes to some people it is. And I've been there. So, I wouldn't, that's a hard one, man. Like I said, it does have features. If I had to pick my favorite, it would probably be, I don't know, man. It's a real toss-up. I don't know. I would probably say it's a tie. I hate to say that. I'm not going to do that to you. It's not a tie. If I had to pick one, now I'm going to keep it real. I hate that when you get on video. It's a tie. If you can get one, you get one. No, if it had to pick one, man, and this is the only reel I could get for the entire year, and I had it, and I only saved the money. Ah, man, that's a hard one. I would probably go with the Ballistic. Because I like things a little bit more rugged and tough. You got a little bit more drag. The smoothness, the Vanford is smoother. If you like super smooth, they both have, like I said, this has a digi gear. This has some other kind of gear where they're really, tight tolerance gears. That is really, there is no slack in the gears. It's really smooth. I would probably say it's a little bit smoother. You do have the bigger spool, so you do have, sorry, I keep getting my line caught around the spool. You do have, more line capacity, and sometimes that really makes a difference. A lot of times if you're throwing this, a spinning reel, you're putting lighter line on there anyway, so you can get pretty much a whole damn spool on there. Yeah, but this one just feels like a tank. Like I said, I've dunked this in water. I've caught big fish, I've thrown it in and out of the kayak. It just feels like it's going to last. The Vanford probably will last. It is smoother. Like I said, you got your advantage, more line capacity, maybe a little bit more casting. This one is like, if I had it, I'd be afraid that sometime that's going to go, even though it hasn't yet. It feels like it could, which maybe it probably wouldn't. But this one, I would be like, yeah, man, for the smoothness, the castability, and everything, this one feels like you would have no issues. Like I wouldn't bet I would be using this for the next 3 years. But then again, like I said, if you've got that extra money, you've got that extra $30, and you're like, I just want the best, tightest, smoothest I can get, this would the Vanford is. If you're pinching pennies and you're like, I just want something that's going to last a lot longer, this is, I feel, is a better construction, feels tighter, than this one. It feels, more, seems like sturdier, more well constructed. But this one is, I think, a little bit smoother. You don't have as much drag, but 2-pound drags that really going to make that big of a difference. I think the Daiwa drag is probably a little bit smoother of a drag, in my opinion. So that's why I was like, between the construction, the drag, you're losing a little bit of smoothness. You're losing a little bit of rule capacity. I don't think the casting distance is that much better. This is my opinion. Don't eat me alive. But that's my opinion. Really good reel. If you got the 250 and you're a Shimano fan, don't hesitate. I think this is really, really, really good compared to the other ones that I've looked at, the Stratics and things. I think you can't miss here. Very, very good reel. If I'm going for a review, the only thing I think of is maybe some of the construction. I wish they would beef that up a little bit, but I understand they did a lot of it to save weight. But really good reel. It is, if you're afraid to put it up against big fish, over 8 pounds saugeye. Like I said, a couple 4 or 5 pound wipers. If anybody knows anything about wipers, they will rip a reel apart. Held up perfectly, no issues. So I wouldn't worry about that. I think it's going to be really good. I do prefer the drag system. So if I had to pick one that's worth the extra 30 and I was going to sweat on it, like, am I missing out? No, I don't think you're missing out. You get the Ballistic, you're good. No problems. I'm trying not to repeat myself here. I'm just trying to make sure I'm covering everything for people that are, on the fence, like I would be if I was watching this video. But if you've got that extra change to spend, the Vanford, yeah, really, really, really good reel. But if I had to grab one, they were both on the shelf, I'd probably say the Daiwa Ballistic was probably, yeah, I wouldn't bat an eye. So there it is. Like I said, I'm not a fanboy of either one. They both have their pluses and minuses. If I only had the money for one of them, and I wanted to get some lures too, or some line, I'd get this, boom, buy me some good fluorocarbon, throw on it, be good to go. If I had a couple extra money and I'm really wanting to get something that, a little extra smoothness and you're good to that Shimano name, yeah, right there. Don't second guess it. This Vanford's really where it's at. So I hope that helps, man. If you got any questions, just like usual, hit me up in the comments. I will answer them as soon as I see them and give you the best answer I can. Man, I hope that helps. Man, until next time, thanks for watching. Catch you out there on the water.